We are the team 4, and this is the last work, and its name is The Pandemic in the UK. Next. My name is David, and we will start the presentation with introduction. Since the COVID epidemic broke out, events have been happening so quickly that we don't have time to think about their scope. It's the first major global epidemic that information is obtained every day from different media. True and false information that alarms and terrifies people. Without wanting to, we have been infected by this epidemic of fear and confusion. Thousands of people affected by this global catastrophe.
My name is Lucia, and I'm going to talk about how the pandemic affect or benefit the United Kingdom. When the pandemic starts, the United Kingdom government tried to keep the schools open in order to doesn't affect in the students in their academic achievement. At the end of 2020, the students start to miss the class because they were in quarantine. By January 2020, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson take the decision to move the schools to the remote permit provide, so the students have to stay at home and take virtual lessons because the new variant is more transmissible. Some students say that they miss going to school, while other students say that even miss virtual lessons, they can learn a lot.
Hi, my name is Kevin. My topic is how the pandemic benefits or affect the United Kingdom. It all started in 1 March 20. The Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, ordained the closure of all pubs, bars, restaurants, and gyms across the country in order to reduce social quarantines by 75% and keep the COVID infection rate as low as possible. This caused decline of 54% in visit, which represents a loss of 70.8 million, and 55 in express, which represents 11.6 billion pounds to UK. An interesting fact is that the UK authorities include Mexico among the countries with high risks of contagion of COVID. Next.
Well, my name is Ernesto. I will talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic affects the United Kingdom in gastronomy. Empty shelves and lack of workers, pandemic, and Brexit exacerbate UK supply crisis. The CBI estimates that the UK will need at least 100 more truckers to alleviate growing shortage problem. Next, please. Food delivery, how the pandemic has changed the gastronomy in the UK. The health crisis came to revolutionize the way things happen in the gastronomy industry and the world in general. Grand luxuries were abandoned for more primal pleasures adapted to home delivery, and restaurants were completely transformed to survive. Next, please. And food price skyrocket in the UK. The food sector blames the new immigration system implemented with Brexit for this situation. The UK Food and Drink Federation notes on this use. The government must eliminate and reduce the skilled shares for immigrants to address shortage problems.
Hi, my name is Julissa, and the next topic is how the pandemic affects and benefits health in the United Kingdom. Next, please. The UK's failure to do more to stop the spread of COVID early in the pandemic was one of the biggest public health failures in history, according to a new report from the British Parliament. Parliamentarians describe the pandemic, which has so far claimed more 150,000 lives in the UK and 5 million worldwide, the greatest peacetime challenge in a century. Next, please. Some of the most serious mistakes early in the pandemic were the result of a parliament group team between scientists and ministers that led to fatalities. The result was that very little was done in the first few weeks to stop the spread of the COVID, despite evidence from China and then Italy that it was highly infectious virus causing serious illness and for which it did not there was a cure. See, next please. The success of vaccines, among the success are the entire vaccination program, which have saved millions of lives and described as one of the most effective initiatives in the history of the United Kingdom. The development of treatments such as dexamethasone through a trial in the United Kingdom was another area in which the country led the world, according to a report. Also noteworthy is the increased capacity for intensive care to ensure that the majority of those who needed hospital treatment receive it. Next.
Hi, this is Emiliano, and I'm going to talk about the economy after COVID-19. The UK economy, ravaged by the COVID-19, contracted 9.9% in 2020. This is coupled between the politician problems, Brexit, and this epidemic have affected this economy, and this has been the biggest annual drop in British GDP since modern records, but avoided a recession in the last quarter of the year.
My name is Placido. I am topic is how the pandemic affect the society and the United Kingdom. The problem that mainly affect society are psychology and emotional because people were not prepared to serve and quarantine. Many of the people approach psychologists to be able to treat frustration, anger, anxiety, and panic due to the disable in the dangers. An important reason that caused panic within society was that there is not effective vaccine to treat the disease. The disease killed a large number of people, generating fear and uncertainty within the society.
My name is Jessica Magaña, and I'm going to talk about how the pandemic affects the politics in the United Kingdom. First, the British economy was the sixth largest in the world, and this has been happening since the 2016 year. The situation was worse in 2020 because of the pandemic COVID-19, and it was because the GDP fell by 2.2% in the first quarter, and it plummeted 20.4% in the second, and with an annual loss of 9.5% according to the IMF estimations. And it was equivalent with the country's deepest recession since World War II. And this was despite the measures taken by the government with the economy, business, investment, and household. And also there was an investigation with the IMF, and also it was like it was expected that in 2021 and in 2022 there will be like recovery from these subjects in the economy, business, investment, and household. Also, 18 months after the COVID pandemic, another very difficult winter looks increasingly likely, with fears about the resurgence of the virus combined with rising inflation and an energy and supply chain crisis.
My name is David and my topic is interesting facts of COVID-19 in UK. Pollution was reduced thanks to quarantine. The COVID-19 pandemic left a better culture about hygiene, science, and washing was very important to reduce infections. In July 2021, the Delta Plus variable of COVID-19 emerged in the United Kingdom. Next.
And now here we have the conclusions. First, I'm going to say mine. My name is Jessica Ruby, and I'm going to read it. To conclude, due to the pandemic, we can observe that affected all possible fields in all parts of the world. In this activity, we observe all the aspects in which the pandemic affected in the United Kingdom, also how it affected the environment, health, gastronomy, among others.
My name is Lucia, and I think the pandemic affects in different aspects to the entire world. In the case of United Kingdom, the government tried to keep the normality, but even with all their efforts, the virus keeps spreading and that affects the whole population. It was necessary take some preventive measures to stop the virus spread, although the government waited too much to start these measures. Also, they could control the pandemic.
My name is Julissa. In conclusion, it can be said that the United Kingdom initiated the pandemic was one of the countries in Europe that reached the highest number of COVID cases. However, thanks to the vaccine, there are fewer cases of serious diseases and fewer admissions to hospitals.
In this activity, we understand a little better what are the effects that the COVID-19 left in the UK. I think we could see different points in which this pandemic posed serious problems. We could also observe that we were not prepared for some things of this magnitude and that we should have a better organization in case in the future we go through something similar again.
My name is Kevin. This is my conclusion. This activity allowed me to have a better knowledge about how the pandemic impact in another country. Since until now, I had only been informed of the events that occur in my own country. However, when carrying out this activity, I was able to observe the effects in various aspects. For example, the education, tourism, gastronomy, health, and others in the United Kingdom. Next.
Hi, this is Emiliano again, and thanks to this activity, we were able to understand a little more how serious the COVID-19 pandemic has been and how it has affected the United Kingdom in all areas.
Well, my name is Ernesto. The impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the UK economy are dramatic. In addition to the massive slump in trade, capitalists begin withdraw for emerging countries in historic dimensions. Just in the initial phase of the pandemic, it was 100 million pounds sterling, according to the IMF estimates. Direct investments have been reduced in the same way as remittances. Thank you.
My name is David Castillo, and this is my conclusion. In this last SP activity, we conducted an investigation about the largest pandemic that society has had so far, that is COVID. In addition, we also investigated all the aspects that came to affect in the UK, such as tourism, education, gastronomy, health, and economics and politics.
The pandemic itself affects a large part of each country in the world. In this case of the United Kingdom, it was affected in many aspects. Since it was similar to the effect that the United Kingdom had in the 1970s. In this case, it mainly affects the points of inflation, shortage of products,